Hello, beta. Good evening, everyone. So today we will go ahead and we will take questions related to taxes. And in the next 2-3 classes, we'll try and cover different topics related to taxes. ठीक है? आज का जो टॉपिक है वो थोड़ा हम theoretical aspect में रखेंगे. So we will be discussing economic effects of taxation. और जो आगे वाला टॉपिक होने वाला है that is going to be related to numericals of deadweight loss and all. So next 2-3 days हमारा यही aim रहेगा that we finish the concepts related to taxes. We do numerical related to taxes. ठीक है? Try to solve the first question, beta. Which of the following is direct effect of taxation in an economy? It decreases the supply of labor, reduction in investment returns, generation of government revenue, redistribution of wealth. Direct effect of taxation. Try to answer this question. Try to answer question number 1. Okay, good. So try to understand that whenever we talk about taxes, direct and indirect effect में क्या difference है? Direct effect of taxation basically goes ahead and refers to the immediate effect of taxation. मतलब जो मेरे को टैक्स लगाते ही जो इफेक्ट दिखे, हाँ, उसको हम डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट ऑफ टैक्सेशन बोलते हैं. So direct tax of taxation occurs as soon as tax is levied. जैसे ही हमने टैक्स लगाया, जो उसका डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट होगा उसको हम डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट ऑफ टैक्सेशन बोलेंगे. So yes, you are right that the answer will be C. The direct effect of taxation is generation of government revenue. The moment government will impose tax, जैसे ही government ने tax लगाया, सबसे पहले क्या होगा? Government will get revenue out of it. Government उससे पैसा कमाएगी. So the correct answer to this question should be C. That is the correct answer. So the primary direct effect of taxation is generation of revenue of government. Other options like decrease in labor supply, reduction in investment are indirect effects that occur due to taxation. ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि ये टैक्सेस की वजह से नहीं हो रहे हैं. When you will impose tax, it means that net wage of people will fall. Labor का net wage गिर जाएगा. When net wage of labor will fall, then the incentive to provide labor will fall. So labor supply will decrease. But ये एक indirect effect of taxation है. Similarly, when you will impose tax, the net return on investment will decrease. तो जब investment पे net return decrease होगा, the amount of investments will also decrease. But this is also an indirect effect of taxation. Okay. When you will impose tax, especially when the tax will be a tax which is progressive in nature. माने आपने rich से ज्यादा टैक्स लिया और poor से कम टैक्स लिया, and you will use this tax to pay the poor. तो इससे क्या होगा? It will be redistributional effect. Redistribution of income. But ये direct effect नहीं है. This is not even direct effect, right? So we can go ahead and we can say that the only direct effect of taxation is the collection of the government revenue. जो government revenue collect करती है, only that can be called as the direct effect of taxation. ठीक है? So I hope this answer is clear to you, beta. The answer will be C. Okay. Now let us go ahead and let us talk about the next question. Question number 2, beta. Try to answer this. What is the most common economic reason for imposition of taxes? To control inflation, to reduce private sector inefficiency, to fund public goods and services, to create wealth equality. Most common reason for imposing taxes. Whenever few days are left in exam, my suggestion is always to revise the mock papers, revise the past year papers, and to go ahead and ensure that you revise your notes well. ठीक है, ये कुछ चीजें हैं जो आपको करनी ही करनी होती हैं in the last few days of your exam. Very good, absolutely, that is the correct answer. तो most common reason tax collect करने का क्या है? That we fund public good and services. Correct. So government imposes taxes to fund public good and service like infrastructure, education, healthcare reason. बाकी चीजें secondary reason हो सकते हैं but primary reason नहीं हो सकते हैं, right? Okay beta, come to the next question. Question number 3. Try to answer this. Which of the following tax is designed to have the least distortionary effect on economy? किस टैक्स का डिस्टॉर्शनरी इफेक्ट मिनिमम है? अब डिस्टॉर्शनरी इफेक्ट क्या होता है बेटा? व्हाट इज डिस्टॉर्शन? डिस्टॉर्शन इज व्हेन देयर इज change in consumption pattern of consumer. When there is change in consumption pattern of consumer, माने suppose for example जैसे for example I have two commodities, दो commodities है मेरे पास, rice and sugar. ठीक है, और मैं एक पर्टिकुलर कंजम्पशन कर रही थी. सपोज आई वाज कंज्यूमिंग R star amount of rice and S star amount of sugar. Now there is a tax beta on rice. और जैसे ही मैंने ये टैक्स लगाया राइस पे, I as a consumer reduce the consumption of rice and increase the consumption of sugar. तो जब मैं अपने कंजम्पशन पैटर्न को चेंज करती हूँ, when I change the consumption pattern as a consumer, that is called as distortionary behavior. It means that taxes are distortionary in nature. They go ahead and they cause distortion. ठीक है, ये इसका मतलब है distortion का. अच्छा, now the question is asking that which of the tax is designed to have least distortionary effect. ऐसा कौन सा टैक्स है जिस पे डिस्टॉर्शनरी इफेक्ट मिनिमम होगा, लीस्ट होगा, राइट? सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट if you refer to variant, and I have done this case study also in your intermediate video lectures, in your micro video lectures. We have done this. Ki if we compare the taxes, then lump sum taxes cause the least distortion. एक लमसम टैक्स में डिस्टॉर्शन मिनिमम होता है, वो डिस्टॉर्शन कॉज नहीं करता है, वो प्रेफरेंसेस को नहीं बदलता है. whereas when we talk about sales tax, corporate tax, actually sales tax के साथ ज्यादातर वेरिएंट कंपेयर करते हैं. so when we talk about per unit tax, quantity tax, it causes a lot more distortion. ठीक है, so if we have to mark one answer, then I will be going with lump sum tax. That will be the most appropriate answer, because most of the books, agar aap, if you refer back to Varian, the statement made by Varian is that lump sum tax causes least distortion. तो हम उसी statement के साथ we will go ahead beta, and answer should be A. ठीक है, ओके। A lump sum tax is non-distortionary because it does not alter the behavior. ठीक है, जब हम एक गुड पे टैक्स करते हैं जैसे राइस पे, तो मेरा बिहेवियर ऑल्टर होगा. आई विल रिड्यूस द कंजम्पशन ऑफ राइस, इंक्रीज शुगर एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. But when we go ahead and when we put a lump sum tax, then it cannot go ahead and distort the behavior of the consumer. Okay. ठीक है बेटा, क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. Try to do question number 4 now. What is the primary purpose of progressive tax system? To reduce inflation, to reduce income inequality, to increase government profit, to lower government borrowing. Try to answer this. Good. So, beta, there are various classification of taxes. ठीक है, जिसमें कि सबसे पहला हमारा क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ टैक्स आता है ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ हु पेज द टैक्स, है ना. हु पेज टैक्स में हमारे पास आ जाता है डायरेक्ट टैक्स, विच इज डायरेक्टली पेड बाय कंज्यूमर टू द गवर्नमेंट, जैसे इनकम टैक्स, वेल्थ टैक्स, प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स, कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स. एंड दूसरा आ जाता है इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स. इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स में वी हैव टैक्स विच इज levied on good and service, indirectly paid by the consumer. ठीक है. The second kind of classification of tax that we have, that is called as based on tax structure, right? And based on tax structure, you have different kind of tax, but सबसे पहला आ जाता है progressive tax. So progressive tax माने जिसका ज्यादा इनकम वो ज्यादा टैक्स पे करेगा, जिसका कम इनकम वो कम टैक्स पे करेगा. So if a person is earning, suppose 10,000, he will pay more. If a person is earning 5,000, he will pay less. ठीक है, तो जो टैक्स रेट होता है that is different, right? So suppose for 20,000 your tax rate is 30%, for 10,000 your tax rate is 20%, for 5,000 your tax rate is 10%. Tax rate will differ. The opposite of this beta is regressive tax. Regressive tax means lower income earner will pay higher percentage of their income. प्रोग्रेसिव का ऑपोजिट रिग्रेसिव होता है. एंड द थर्ड वन, दैट इज प्रोपोर्शनल टैक्स. प्रोपोर्शनल टैक्स मींस एवरीवन विल पे सेम परसेंटेज ऑफ देयर इनकम, सब सेम परसेंट पे कर रहे हैं, से 10%. तो ये हो गया प्रोपोर्शनल टैक्स. फ्लैट इनकम टैक्स, फ्लैट है ना. सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्स, क्योंकि हम रिच लोगों से ज्यादा चार्ज कर रहे हैं, वी आर चार्जिंग मोर फ्रॉम द रिच. इसका मतलब ये हो गया दैट दीज काइंड ऑफ टैक्सेस, दे आर बेसिकली हेल्पिंग यू टू रिड्यूस योर इनकम इनइक्वालिटी, बिकॉज वी आर चार्जिंग मोर टैक्स फ्रॉम द रिच, है ना. तो देयरफॉर योर राइट आंसर विल बी बी. ठीक है, कम टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन बेटा. डू क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. Which of the following is likely to occur if tax on labor income are increased? Increased labor supply, decreased work incentive, higher consumer spending, increased government subsidy. I didn't understand. Sorry. What's the question? What good number of attempts means what? Correct. So this is the right answer, beta. So इसमें ना, if you remember, actually there is a concept of what? Backward bending labor supply curve. I am not revising this. आप एक बारी पढ़ लेना. Backward bending labor supply curve. You need to tell me that in the two parts of this labor supply curve, एक ऊपर उठ रहा है, upward sloping है, एक downward sloping है. Think and tell me that where substitution effect is more than income effect and where income effect is more than substitution. Okay? Just revise this. It is in our video lectures. अच्छा बेटा, अब यहाँ पे वापस आते हैं. So यहाँ पे what we are saying is when there is tax, right? So increase in tax means decrease in the net income. When the net income decreases, it means that labor supply also decreases. People have less incentive to work. Okay. So it means that there is decreased work incentive. है ना? So yes, this is the right answer. Yes. All of you are saying it correctly. Correct. ठीक है. Okay. Question number 6, beta. Try to answer this. Question number 6. A tax on consumption such as sales tax is likely to have no effect on consumer behavior, increase price of good for consumer, decrease deadweight loss in the economy, decrease government revenue. Last time the person, so I am talking about, I think you would have heard the interviews also on the channel. There are multiple interviews on the channel, beta. But last time, from the students that I had a conversation with, those students who are today sitting at premier institutes, their strategy was to cover 70 out of 75 questions. Okay. And I remember that one of the girl told me that she covered 74. So my suggestion is that your aim should be that you go ahead, and of course you cannot do questions which you don't know, but ideally the aim is that you do at least 70 out of 75. A tax on consumption is likely to, करेक्ट बेटा, बहुत सिंपल है. तो हमें हमेशा से पता है कि a tax generally it creates a wedge between price paid by consumer and price received by producer. है ना? तो अगर इनिशियली मार्केट इक्विलिब्रियम पी स्टार है, सपोज 10 रुपीज, तो आफ्टर टैक्स क्या होगा? ये प्राइस कंज्यूमर पे करेगा पीसी, ये प्राइस प्रोड्यूसर रिसीव करेगा पीएस, एंड दिस गैप विल बी टी. So generally speaking, the price paid by consumer will increase and the price received by producer will decrease. Correct. That's the right answer. So answer will be B. ठीक है. Next question, beta. Question number 7. What is the deadweight loss caused by taxation? decrease in consumer surplus that leads to increased government revenue, reduction in total welfare due to changes in consumption and production, loss of tax revenue when income tax are reduced, gain in social welfare from redistributional policies. What is the deadweight loss caused by taxation? So what should be the answer to this question? Good. Very good. Yes, that is the right answer, beta. Deadweight loss basically is the reduction in the total welfare. Correct. All of you are right. Yes, that is the correct answer. तो बेटा अगर मैं डेडवेट लॉस के फॉर्मूला की बात करूं, जनरल फॉर्मूला की, तो हम एक बार लिख लेते हैं. इट विल बी हाफ into tax rate into the quantity reduction. ये डेडवेट लॉस का जनरल फॉर्मूला है विच यू कैन रिमेंबर. ठीक है. हाफ इंटू टैक्स रेट इंटू क्वांटिटी रिडक्शन माने दिस इज माय डिमांड सप्लाई इनिशियल क्वांटिटी बेटा, ये टैक्स है. एट दिस टैक्स दिस इज माय न्यू क्वांटिटी बेटा. तो ये डेडवेट लॉस है. एरिया ऑफ दिस ट्राइंगल जनरली स्पीकिंग. तो दिस इज हाफ इंटू बेस इंटू हाइट. बेस इसका है ये टैक्स रेट और हाइट है ये क्यू स्टार माइनस क्यू नॉट. ठीक है. सो दिस विल बी योर डेडवेट लॉस. ओके. ठीक है. तो इसी में what you can do is just write down a homework question on deadweight loss first. Just let me create one. So suppose I tell you that a good has equilibrium price of 80 and quantity of 300 after tax is imposed. Price increases to 95 and quantity falls to 250. Find deadweight loss if tax is 20 per unit. Find deadweight loss if tax is 20 per unit. बेटा ये होमवर्क क्वेश्चन है. पोस्ट योर आंसर्स इन द टेलीग्राम ग्रुप. ओके. ठीक है. लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन नंबर 8. Which of the following taxes is most likely to have regressive effect? Regressive. Income tax, capital gain tax, value added tax, estate tax. Try to answer question number 8. Good. Yes, that is right, beta. Okay, try to answer question number 8 now. Which of the following tax is most likely to have regressive effect? रिग्रेसिव का क्या मतलब था? दैट यू एंड अप चार्जिंग more tax from poor people. When you end up charging more tax from poor people, बेटा वो regressive effect है एक तरीके से, है ना? So for example, let us go ahead and let us say that there is a sales tax. Sales tax fixed है 10% पे. Now there is this person who is rich and there is this person who is poor. ये rich person का जो income है वो 10,000 per month है और poor का income 1,000 per month है. बट दोनों जब कुछ खरीदेंगे, when they will be purchasing, they will be paying 10% as tax. So as a proportion of income, ये person he is paying less tax and this person ends up paying more tax. क्योंकि अगर मैं सपोज दे बाय समथिंग, उस पर 10% टैक्स देते हैं, दोनों ने सपोज 100 रुपीज टैक्स दिया, 10% 100 आया, दोनों ने 100 टैक्स दिया, बट एज अ proportion of their income, this person he is paying less and he is paying more. तो माने एक तरीके से it is becoming regressive in nature. So this means that this is a regressive effect tax. Okay. Okay, good. Come to next question, question number 9. Which of the following best discuss? Option A, regressive tax reduces inequality. It represents relationship between tax revenue and deadweight loss. Try to answer this question. Also, can someone tell me which year Laffer curve was introduced? Give me the year. In because कभी कभी वो बोल देंगे चार कॉन्सेप्ट देख के put them in ascending and descending order, right? So which year Laffer curve was introduced? Good. So beta, what is Laffer curve? Laffer curve, all of you have stated it correctly. Laffer curve goes ahead and tells us what is the optimal tax rate. तो बेसिकली पहला बोलता है कि जैसे से आप टैक्स रेट बढ़ाओगे गवर्नमेंट रेवेन्यू बढ़ेगा, फिर जैसे से आप टैक्स रेट फर्दर बढ़ाते जाओगे गवर्नमेंट रेवेन्यू विल डिक्लाइन. When tax rate is 0 and when tax rate is 100%, government revenue will be 0. Government revenue will be 0. So this is your Laffer curve introduced by Arthur Laffer, right? अच्छा, नाउ वी नीड टू ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड कि ये लैफर कर्व जो है इसके बहुत सारे रियल वर्ल्ड एग्जाम्पल भी हैं, राइट? एंड वन ऑफ द रियल वर्ल्ड एग्जाम्पल विच यू कैन रिमेंबर, क्योंकि वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बेटा, मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एग्जाम्पल एक्चुअली, दैट इज यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स इन 1980s टैक्स कट, ठीक है, इन विच प्रेसिडेंट रोनाल्ड रीगन, राइट, ही रिड्यूस्ड टॉप इनकम टैक्स रेट. उन्होंने टैक्स रेट को 70% से 28% पे रिड्यूस कर दिया था, राइट? एंड देन एक्चुअली देखा गया कि रेवेन्यू कम होने की जगह बढ़ गया, राइट? टैक्स रेवेन्यू एक्चुअली इंक्रीज्ड, राइट? So it is the most important example of the Laffer curve which you have to go ahead and which you have to remember, all of you. Okay. Now let's go to the next question, beta, question number 10. Which of the following best explains why corporate tax may reduce investment? They increase disposable income for business. They uh, raise the cost of capital, making investment less attractive. They make export cheaper. They decrease labor supply. Try to answer this. No, beta, 1980s tax cut was a real example of Laffer curve working well, where you were in this zone. So when you lowered the tax rate, your government revenue improved, right? So you were in this diminishing zone, this declining zone, ये negative slope zone में थे आप. So it is a live example of your Laffer curve. Okay, that is correct. Yes, all of you are right. So basically क्या होता है, when you put tax basically increases the cost of capital, right? So when it increases the cost of capital, it makes investment less attractive because capital is now more expensive, so investment becomes less attractive. So answer is B. B is the correct answer. Yes. But in the remaining time, as I have been suggesting, the best way to go about it is to revise the past year paper first. Revise your notes very well. Revise whatever you have got from question bank. कहीं आपने लिखा होगा, revise those notes well, right? And then revise back the mock papers. Okay. There is no need to get, there is no, you should not get disappointed at this point of time. I am receiving multiple messages and calls after the IIT JAM and GATE result. For now, the entire focus should be on CUET. इसके अंदर maximum entrance exams, maximum institutes cover होते हैं, right? So whether you have performed very well in IIT, because I have seen student getting rank 4, 5, 10, whether you have performed excellently well in IIT GATE or whether you have performed badly in IIT GATE, it does not matter. Whether you're performing well in mock or badly in mock, it does not matter. The idea is to cope up. अभी इस टाइम पे हमें अपना सारा एनर्जी रिवाइज करने पे लगाना है. हमारे जितने नोट्स हैं हमें वो सारे रिवाइज करने हैं. एंड हमारे जितना भी स्पेशली स्पेशली हमारे जितने भी कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑलरेडी हमें अच्छे से आते हैं, it should not happen that we skip revising those and just keep picking new things at this point. तो अगर आपको कुछ नया एकदम extremely newbie, if you want to read that, do it only after revising what you already know. Don't skip what you already know, right? If you want to focus on macro beta, do the minimum at least. National income को NCERT से एक बार रिवाइज कर लो. Revise all formulas of national income. Revise all marathons. Marathons में हमने मैक्रो का बहुत कुछ कवर किया है. Do those marathons well, जो आपके पोर्टल पे अवेलेबल हैं. ठीक है. Do basic equation of ISLM curve, right? And do the open economy marathon that we have done. At least basic Mundell Fleming model and BOP आपको आना चाहिए, right? So don't skip macro. Do the basic concepts of macroeconomics well. Okay, next question. How does government imposed tax on goods affect the supply curve? The supply curve shift upward, supply curve shift downward, supply curve becomes more elastic, supply curve becomes steeper. Try to answer this. How does government imposed tax affect the supply curve? So, if tax is imposed, बेटा वर्ड इम्पोज है, इंसिडेंस नहीं है, किस पे टैक्स पड़ रहा है उससे फर्क नहीं. इफ टैक्स इज इम्पोज्ड ऑन सप्लायर्स, demand curve, supply curve will shift like this, backward. So backward or upward is the right answer. So answer is A. Next question. Which type of tax is most likely to have neutral impact on market behavior? Neutral impact का सेम ही मतलब है no distortion or very less distortion. Lump sum tax, proportional income tax, progressive tax, sales tax. Try to answer question number 12. Neutral impact on market behavior. Good. So we have discussed this in the previous questions, beta. Neutral impact means least distortion. Least distortion, mein all of you will always mark lump sum tax because this is according to Varian that he proves that lump sum tax has least distortion. So answer will be A. Very good. Okay, beta. Question number 13. If the demand for good is highly inelastic, who bears larger burden of tax imposed on that good? Consumer, producer, government, both bear equally. Try to answer question number 13. It is saying demand is highly inelastic. Demand is inelastic. Inelastic माने example medicines. You will not change the demand when price increases. अगर price बढ़ भी जाएगा तो आप demand change नहीं करोगे. You will not change demand if price increases. तो इस केस में producer will put the burden on consumers. Producer will put the burden on consumers, right? So all of you are correct. The correct answer will be A. The burden will fall on the consumers. Okay, next question. Which of the following scenarios is likely to result from introduction of carbon tax on business? Increased carbon emission, reduced investment in green technology, increased price for goods and service with carbon content, decreased government revenue. Which of the following scenario is likely to result from introduction of carbon tax on business? ओके, ऑल ऑफ यू, दैट इज द करेक्ट आंसर बेटा। तो हमने अगर कार्बन टैक्स लगाया है, तो जो गुड्स कार्बन एमिशन करते हैं वो गुड्स ऑटोमेटिकली एक्सपेंसिव हो जाएंगे, बिकॉज यू विल बी गोइंग अहेड एंड यू विल बी पेइंग सम मनी टू द गवर्नमेंट फॉर एमिटिंग कार्बन, राइट? तो व्हेन यू विल बी पेइंग सम मनी टू द गवर्नमेंट for emitting carbon, automatically it will go ahead and mean कि the value or the price of those goods will increase. वो चीजें महंगी हो जाएंगी, right? So answer is C, correct. Okay, last question. Which of the following correct due to tax? So suppose I am producing product A. When I produce this product, there is carbon emission. मैं कुछ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड प्रोड्यूस कर रही हूँ. This causes me to pay tax. When I pay tax, the price of this product increases, right? So therefore, you will pay higher price. ठीक है. Which of the following is example of negative externality that a tax might aim to correct? Try to answer this better. Clean energy production, research and development investment, pollution from factory, consumption of healthy food. बेटा make a table. If you don't remember them, एक table बनाओ. Perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic. Perfect competition को छोड़ के बाकी सारों का सारा they have downward sloping ARMR curve. Perfect competition is the only one which has horizontal ARMR curve with AR equal to MR. So make one sheet where you compare different features of these and then you can remember them. All of you are correct बेटा. तो pollution from factory एक negative externality है जिसको tax correct करता है, और इसे हम क्या बोल देते हैं? What is this called? Pigovian tax, है ना? So the correct answer to this question is C. Right? So that is correct. Pigovian tax. Okay. So that is it, beta. This is the first session that we have conducted on taxes. Let's take some numerical questions on deadweight loss in the next class so that we know how to solve numericals also. Okay, okay. Thank you. Slutsky equation is important. At least you should know the table that we have done in class. वो table revise कर लेना. That what is substitution effect, income effect, and price effect for the three goods beta. Normal, inferior, and Giffen. Do that. Intertemporal, not very important, can be skipped. General equilibrium, important. In the last session, I had told what is important from general equilibrium. You have to do general equilibrium. Right. Horizontal AR, so elastic beta, you are talking about individual producer. In perfect competition, you cannot compare it with producer. Perfect competition में market demand curve is this and market supply curve is this. Don't think about what individual producer has. When we solve numericals of perfect competition, we deal with market demand and market supply curve. We don't deal with this curve. Any marathon session on stats? We have done various marathons on stats, na beta. They're uploaded on the portal. Please do those. Okay. ठीक है. Thank you.